instead of 6.
You have to notice it.
No, she tells you.
Yes.
Yeah. The meeting is called to order, so I'll hand over to the chair. You can
Roll call.
call off allegiance first.
Let's rise for the pledge of allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call. Evie Dundas,
Here, present.
Zachary Carhide,
Present.
Steve Minor,
Present.
Paul Wright,
Present.
Tamara DiMartinos.
Here.
I guess the first thing we should do is ask for the adoption of the meeting minutes from last May. Can I have a resolution on that and a motion to adopt those?
I would approve and entertain a motion to adopt the minutes of our last meeting in May.
I'll second.
I vote yes to approve.
Exactly.
Yes.
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 Everyone voted yes. The adoption of the meeting minutes from May.
Now you have to the gavel.
All right. So we have some old business starting out. And the first one is PLZBA 2025 0013 558 River Street.
This is 0013.
0013.
Yes.
Good evening. I'm Adam from Adirondack Sign Company, representing Bargain Grocery and First Columbia. We came here originally with 2 requests. We were asked 2 requests, a building sign and a freestanding sign. Building sign, from my understanding from the last meeting, everybody would seem to be relatively happy with it. But the freestanding sign, you guys had asked me to make a reduction in size of the letters. We had done that. We had come back last time. You had asked for a reduction in the size of the sign. We did that. We moved the Bargain Grocery logo off that would hang off of it into the center, and it just says Bargain Grocery, excuse me, and parking. Very simple. We toned it way down.
What is the dimension of that sign?
It is 60 by 36.
Is this the parking sign you're talking
Yes,
about?
yes, sir.
The one on Hoosick Street.
Yes.
From what I understand, it's prohibited by zoning code for the Hoosick Street.
Even if it's a leased piece of property,
I was given that section of the statute recently between the last meeting and this meeting, and I understand there's a question of, is it offsite signage? First of all, I'm Nathaniel Betty from First Columbia. Sorry, I couldn't be here last time. The project actually received an award that I had to go out of town to receive down in Poughkeepsie from the New York State Office of Historic Preservation and the Landmark Society of Western New York, which is great. What I didn't understand from the statute was, is this really off-site? It's a contiguous plot to the parcel that Bargain Grocery currently now sits on. Our assessment of it is, it's just a wayfinding vehicle for somebody to see that you can get into the parking from Hoosick Street into the kind of landlocked lot that sits next to the building. And otherwise, there's really no way to find your way into that parking area if there's not wayfinding signage. I don't know, have you looked at it from the legal standpoint?
I'm gonna look at it right now, okay? Show me where it is.
1 second.
you know,
What is your lease?
Joe Costello with First Columbia. We lease the parking lot from the DOT.
How long is your lease for?
Yeah, the first one was for 3 years.
How long is the current lease for?
Until the DOT puts it back out for a public bid. It's
Do you mean it's like a holdover sort of tenancy or something like that?
correct until, yeah, it's a license. We've had it for, I believe, 5 years since they put it out to bid.
All right, so there was an initial 3-year lease, and then you've held over with the license.
Correct.
And at some point, they may or may not put it out to bid.
That's correct.
Okay.
Prohibited signs.
So, yeah, which one, number 3?
Yeah.
All preferences, signs / billboards that are defined as signs located on a parcel.
So when I read this, and I'm interested in your legal opinion because you have the JD and I don't, but I look at that and see off-premises signs, billboards that are defined as signs located on a parcel of land other than that parcel where the business, service, or event advertised is located. Is the intent of that to stop someone from, say I'm 4 blocks north on River Street and I want to tell someone on Hoosick Street, hey, drive 4 blocks up and you can find my business far away. I think that's what you're trying to do, is stop someone from posting things kind of far from where the business is located to direct them to go find it. This is different where you're on an adjacent parcel on Hoosick Street, but it's contiguous to the parcel that Bargain Grocery sits on at 558, telling people just turn in this way to find your way into the parking. And again, we have the license with DOT to go do this. We've reviewed the submittal with DOT. They have no problem with it.
So what happens if you lose your lease?
I don't really know.
I think we have to take the sign down, which the way it's constructed, it's fairly easy to do. But after they just did a major rehabilitation of the bridge overpass, I don't see a reason they would need to exercise that right in the near future, at least.
What is the leased area used for?
Just parking. For the grocery store specifically, that lot. We have a license with a number of under overpass lots from that stretch of Route 7
So
that
will
flies
the
over.
lot where the sign is located, which is under the bridge, correct,
Correct.
be used for, or be allowed to, will customers use it who shop at the
Yes.
Bargain Grocery?
Yes. That would be the overflow lot in case the main lot, which is right next to the front entrance, fills up. That's the next logical off-street place for people to park.
And-
Yes.
And how far is it to walk from that
What did
lot
I measure?
to
I
the,
think it's 170 feet from the corner of the building to this sign location. So it's even closer than that from the parking spaces on this lot to Bargain Grocery's front door.
is that lot that you lease or license to use, is it at Fifth and Hoosick?
It is,
Or is that the
it's
alley?
really the alley in Hoosick where it tees in.
So
That's
that
where
would
the
be
curb cut is.
Earl
Earl
and-
Street. Well, I think it changes to North First Street once you're above Hoosick. Can you pull up Google Maps?
It's North First Street behind the Ale House. I know that. So maybe.
I think that's where
I
it transitions to North First
My-
Street.
I
And
think
there is an interruption of the alley at our property. Once you get past our neighbor who's on the corner of Hoosick and River, it's actually our parcel. And then it transitions back to a public right of way behind Bargain Groceries building, traversing north.
So can I ask you a question? So this sign is leading me to the overflow lot, correct?
It's really leading you to the main lot, but it would also indirectly lead you to the overflow lot.
And have we needed to overflow?
Not yet. We're still trying to help them ramp up as a business. And this is kind of the main reason to ask for parking signage in the first place is we're trying to direct people to the store that don't know it's there. And it's a difficult lot to access because of the geometry of the city. The only other way to really make it efficient would be you could buy this building and demolish it, and then you'd have a clear view, but is that a good use of anyone's time and resources just to make it convenient for that access when you can just direct somebody through this way and get into that lot?
That's
Unrelated to the signage, I know you have hours that are
That's what he's saying.
Where's the
rather
lot?
odd.
The lot is this one. The building is.
Are those going
this
to
is a
change?
grocery
Because I know
store.
that you're closed on Sundays or
signage
something
is
like
gonna
that,
be
which is
somewhere
actually a
here.
shopping day. And you're closed Monday through Saturday?
My
Monday
tenant's
through
closed
Saturday?
then. Yeah, Monday through Saturday is
Monday
there.
through Saturday, so, which, I mean, to me, as a family person, Sunday's a big shopping day, Monday's oops, I forgot to go shopping on Sunday day. I mean, have you guys thought about, again, I know this isn't part of the signage, but have you guys thought about changing your hours or adding?
They
hours?
eventually will ramp up, and there's other services, not just related to hours that they're trying to get started with, but they want to build a base of business first before they get too ramped up. Yes.
I have a couple of questions. Do you have a copy of that lease that was signed and given to you by DOT for our review?
The license, I mean, we can, but
This is where the sign is gonna be, right?
I think it's on the north side.
It's right by the stop sign. Well, no, I think go the other way.
Other side.
other side,
Yeah,
it's
see where the
right,
Stop sign is?
There.
right there,
North
Yeah.
side.
in front of this red car, right here.
Okay.
To go down that alley.
To go up, yeah, and it is at North First Street, yes, I was right.
And what is it?
So
What
what
by
do you-
5? Sorry, Ange.
No, go ahead.
3 by 5? 36 by 60?
What did you have? Em?
36 by 6.
So there's a building there.
We
So-
talked about a different design last time.
Yeah.
We did change it.
Do you have a-
What you're requesting. Yeah, we did exactly what you asked.
Do you have
Do you
a,
have it? Do you have a render or anything?
Right.
Yeah.
I didn't see much.
Yeah.
This is the new submission. You can pass those around, Adam.
They sent that today, so I wasn't
Oh,
included in.
oh, okay. So I didn't see that.
I got sent out today.
while that picture's going around, can I continue with a
Go
couple of
ahead.
questions? The land that the grocery store itself sits on, who owns that land?
We do, through a partnership.
Who owns the parking lot directly behind it?
The small bullet that's off of North First Street as it tees into Vanderheiden Street, is that what you're referring to?
Yeah, right behind.
We
it.
own those too.
You own that too.
Just, it's a few spots though. Angelina, if you can go north on the alley, just click that way and we'll get to them. Those are really staff parking spaces. If you pan this way, there's a few spots right here. This is an older image, by the way, so this is kind of not improved the way it is currently, but there are, I think, 6 spots going this way. And our property line comes across the back of these lots. But it's just been paved and striped. There's no other improvement. We
And
didn't
who
block
owns
access or
that
anything.
lot?
This lot,
Right where your hand is.
we own this.
Who owns the lot where the sign,
Where the sign's going,
where you want this?
Department of Transportation.
DOT owns. that
Yes,
piece of
yes.
property, which you lease.
We have a license for it, yes.
Why couldn't you use that lot for additional parking?
This is
Well-
staff parking and it's not very big. What we're trying to do is use the DOT lot, which is much bigger, and the lot that's right next to the building. If you go this way, Angelina, back down towards the main entrance. This is a loading dock now, so that's not parking anymore.
Evie, do you want to see last month?
No, I have it.
You've got both.
So actually, Angelina, stay right here. This is the main lot. If there was no building here, we would probably have tried to do a curb cut off of River Street and just come right in. But because there's a building there and there's a grade change, if we ramped up to this, you would chew up so many spaces in here and make it not worth the time to go through that exercise. So we're trying to leave the physical environment that's presented around us and just enter through the back off of Huzik, which is what people had been doing before this tendency took over for Bargain Grocery. That's the main reason we've kind of oriented all of the ins and outs the way they are
But
right
you
now.
really don't have a current need for additional parking as we sit
this
here
is really
tonight.
It's not as much of a parking request. It's more to show a customer, this is how you get into the existing parking. So I'm not saying like I need more space. I think we're actually great with what we have. And overall, for the whole Flanagan Square project, we have a very good amount of parking for all the uses we have. And they're all off hour to each other, which is what makes a good mixed use project. All we're trying to do is direct a customer to be able to access that lot. And it's a tough thing to teach someone when there's no signs to kind of point them in the right direction.
You own the building, the brick building to the right?
No, we do not.
Which,
We own this building and we own directly across the street, the former Flanagan Square building is
Right.
being rehabbed into apartments and mixed use.
Why did you, earlier you said you thought the DOT lot was contiguous to the, I thought you were saying.
It is
contiguous to
because
Bargain Grocery.
if, I actually need a lot map to show this accurately, but North First Street's right of way ends back at this corner and does touch the DOT land on this end. If you look at a tax map, you'll see that. So the alley stops at the corner of this building going down. We actually own the alley until it touches North First Street in that lot.
Was that something that you acquired?
No, it came with the purchase of
That's what-
558 River Street. So when Smith Beauty owned it as the prior fee simple holder, that land plus the lot you talked about on the back came with this building.
is there no way you could put like a different sign on the front of that weird piece of concrete that I can't penetrate that just says parking around back with a sign?
Weird piece of concrete on this side.
Yeah, well, like.
We're doing that. Oh, you mean this going this way?
Right, because this is, that's where I can't get into the parking lot, right?
Correct.
You have to go around the corner.
Right, so isn't there?
Which, when you go around the corner, you'll see the other sign that we've submitted for that's mounted to the loading dock that
Yeah,
sends you
that
through
one I
the
like.
alley. Yes.
But I mean, why can't you just put a small sign on your concrete there that says parking around back?
Because we're trying to pull people off of Hoosick Street that might go by that curb cut and then miss it. And then get frustrated and say, oh, the heck with this, I'm just gonna go to the suburbs and shop. Like, we're trying to create a magnet for this
I don't know.
store.
I think that your store is not a win. I think people are gonna come to it because they're going to it.
Eventually, yes, and that's our hope. We're trying to make it easy in the interim so that the customer can find their way into this lot specifically and just make it an easy experience so that when they do figure it out for the first time, it becomes a habit and then no one's worried about it.
So the North First Street alley, can traffic from Hoosick Street, either going east or west,
In or out, yes.
access this parking lot right here?
From
through-
that path,
From
yes,
that alley. So you're trying to direct traffic on Hoosick Street?
yes.
I think Tamara's comment has a lot of merit. I think there's an awful lot of signage on Hoosick Street. I think you might be better served to do what she suggested, but that's my own opinion.
Can we go back to Hoosick Street?
Keep going.
Yeah, just on Hoosick proper so we can look. To the amount of signage, I respectfully disagree. I mean, you see mostly the murals under the bridge piers.
I'm just
But there's
talking
not
about
a lot of
Hoosick Street in
signage.
general.
Going up, yes, because that's your main commercial corridor through the city, and that makes sense. You have a big shopping center and then a lot of general commercial retail. Underneath, though, there's not much. I mean, you have the beautification projects under the bridge piers, but and I don't think we're asking for a lot with just a parking sign.
Part of the package, DOT.
Excuse me for a second. Going through all this back and forth with the signage, I'm originally from Cohoes. My mother still lives in Cohoes. She worked at St. Mary's Hospital as a nurse for 20-some years. With all this, I said to my mother last time, she says, do me a favor. We got this project we're doing on River Street. I says, "Look, do me a favor. Can you go there, shop and find it?" I explained to her where it was. She goes, "Oh yeah, I know where it is. You know, I know where." She almost could not find how to get in the parking lot. said it was very frustrating. She says, if you didn't ask me to go, she says, I would have kept on going. It was a real simple request. She lives across the river. And like I said, she's familiar with Troy, worked at St. Mary's for 20 years.
I've got another question with regards to your overall submission, in particular, your short environmental assessment form. In your prior submission on question 20, you mentioned underground storage tanks.
I didn't mention that. The state automatically flagged it as an answer when Adam filled it out through the mapper tool. So the state is arbitrary in its tagging.
Yeah, a check or of yes or no.
We did a
but an
full-
explanation.
As I
of
said in the
tanks?
first meeting, we did a full phase 1 and phase 2. There are no USTs on this site,
What about contaminated
no
soil
contaminated soils either. We did borings, nothing came back dirty.
on your own property?
Correct.
Okay.
On these properties, and they were sampled on the various lots that came with the purchase, not just the building lot.
And Evie, the last meeting, they updated that, they
Right,
fixed that
And
and
I,
I
s-
said,
I
yeah.
saw the
So
difference.
it actually
that-
wasn't Adam's fault or his admin's fault. It was when you go, I don't know if you've used the mapper yourself to research a property. When you put in the address and hone in on that tax map parcel, it just answers what it has in its system for data related to that site. So we have the same problem. You might bring this up again for my next submission for 547. They actually tagged the Hudson River as a hazardous waste site. And since it touches the back of 547 shoreline, I think that's what actually triggered the
Well, when you have
checkbox
one
for that
submission that
EAF.
includes it, and you have another submission that doesn't include it without explanation in the document, it looks questionable.
No, I understand, but from going through it myself afterwards, talking to Adam and seeing what the mapper tool did, that is how it came to be checked. It wasn't something that we
As
actually
long as the borings were
encountered.
done,
Yes.
that is a
I
substantive
don't know what their deed
explanation.
says. Well, I mean, yeah, there's different ways. It's actually difficult to abandon in a right of way, so I don't know what happened here, whether anything. I don't know.
We don't
know
either,
calling
Rick.
a
I mean,
title.
it's-
I mean, it's, it takes, a couple acts, several acts of the city council to get rid of abandon a public right of way, and I'm not sure what was done in this case, so. Right now, it appears to be, I'm sorry, it appears that the alley is traversable its entire length between Hoosick and
Vanderheiden Street.
Vanderheiden.
Yes.
Is that true?
We reestablished the section behind the building that was overgrown and kind of at an impasse. There was actually a very steep slope that we kind of feathered out to make it.
So vehicles
traversable
to
again.
access your
Now
parking
you can
lot
get all the way through again.
can come in
yes.
from Vanderheiden or can
Yes.
come in from Hoosick. Okay, all right.
And we did that to encourage the access from the two sides. I mean, Hoosick is much more heavy traffic than Vanderheiden, so we're trying to encourage people to come in and out from Vanderheiden or from Hoosick rather, and not overload Vanderheiden. Not that it would from a traffic standpoint, but just from a practicality standpoint, that's probably better for traffic on Hoosick.
Right. That's where I like. No. That's.
Exactly what?
So we started this off, we asked.
Right, we have to talk to them like,
Yeah, but
we need
what-
to know if it's legal or not.
Yeah, that's,
That-
we
that's-
started off
we-
with
we
that,
can
with that, it's
blabber
not
on
legal to put the
endlessly.
sign up. And I don't think we've ever answered that, yes, it is, or
We
yes
have
or no, and continued on this path about the
I know.
sign. We just need to know, is it legal or is it not?
Is there a way, if you don't mind, I'm sorry, I'm just trying to get through the legality of this.
That's-
Is there
we
a
all
way
want
to indicate on the sign that parking for the grocery can be at both places? In other words, you might have an arrow directing people to the main parking lot, which is right next to the building where most people would go anyways. But some other arrow that it could indicate. I guess what legally, I think you could have, pretty sure you could have a sign in your leased area saying park here, right? Do you know what I'm saying? Or free parking or whatever you want to say, okay? What you want to do is you want to direct the traffic and say, go down this alley, you'll get to the bargain grocery
Yes.
parking lot, right?
That's my primary objective.
That's your
is send
primary
people
objective.
To
but
the
you-
front door with that parking if it's open.
Right, but
If not, yes, feel free to
well,
park
what you
in
said,
this.
what you said here
DOT
is that
lot.
this could be an overflow
Yes,
parking lot.
and no, it is. That's how we designed it with the tenant for
Is-
their use.
So I
is-
think, I think if your signage sort of makes that clear somehow or another, I would, my
Sure.
objections, my legal objection to the sign would dissipate.
Okay.
So are you saying that it's legal on that piece of property?
If
Per-
if the sign, I'm saying if the sign indicates that the people could park right there.
But that's not where they're not gonna park right there. They're gonna park down the street. That's just a
I'm
direction.
indicating that it could, if they can indicate that you could park in either location. I would,
We
not
can mark
have-
it. I mean,
you know.
But-
You can't park where the sign's gonna
But
be.
you can't
though.
park where the sign is.
no,
I thought-
not
I
on,
thought
not
that's
on
a-
the sidewalk,
Oh,
but that
not on
lot
the
that's right
sidewalk,
next to
no.
it is overflow parking for the grocery store.
That's what they're saying.
How do you control or police who parks in that oversigned grocery store part that your arrow on the sign is taking you to?
We have property management teams down here
I'm
to
on,
handle our,
I'm on site every day. If we see a car that seems suspicious, we'll check it out. But most of the time, if we see him walking to the grocery store, we're actually trying to get the employees of the grocery store to park in the overflow lot to free up parking as needed for the tenants. That's what we do.
Do you think we should vote on each sign separately?
Yes.
Oh, they're two different-
You can, and that's up to you.
Is there anybody out there that has any questions they'd like to raise or
Or public?
public?
Oh, you gotta come up and use the mic.
I've never seen these guys here before. I shop at the Bargain Grocer,
Name, address.
Name.
Eduardo Dunphy, 332567. And if you're coming down River Street and there's about 5 spots you can access along River Street. Now, if I go past that and there's no parking, it's difficult to come up then, whatever the name of that street is, and make a right through the loading dock because the street narrows down with a couple of pillars. Now I have a Dodge pickup truck and it's possible to get through, but it's tight. So I hesitate to go through there. If I'm coming down Hoosick, only because I know it, do I make the right into the alley. If someone is new to the neighborhood and to the grocer, they're never gonna find that out. And also, if there's no parking along River Street, there's 2 spots, a handicap spot, and I think another spot, and that's it. I'm gonna keep on going home. I'm gonna keep going down River. So that's the public. Thank you.
Guess we should ask too, is there anybody online?
Yeah.
no one?
Nobody? Okay. Should we call it for a vote, you guys?
Well, should we make a motion to call for a vote on each sign separately?
Yes.
Okay, I'll be,
I think you should do the SEPA first.
Okay. Evie,
Excuse me?
just want to do the secret first.
Oh, okay. All right, Mr. Chairperson, with regards to PLZBA 2025 as supported by the staff reports and the short environmental assessment form as amended and submitted by the applicant. I ask that the board find this proposal to be an unlisted seeker action with sufficient information available for a negative declaration.
I'll second that.
Okay, so should we?
I'll make a motion to vote on each sign separately.
Yes. Okay.
I think we need to vote on
We
my
have to vote on
motion.
the secret.
Vote on the seeker first.
You have
Sorry.
to Vote on secret
Sorry.
first.
Aye.
Aye.
Yes,
Yes.
Yes,
Okay, so you've declared, you had made a negative declaration for seeker. Okay, now,
I'd like to make a motion to vote on each sign separately.
I'll second that motion.
So go for the store sign first. Is that all right?
well, first of all, you have to take a vote.
We gotta vote on that
for
too
a
now.
vote on the.
All in
motion.
favor?
All in favor
Aye,
of the motion?
Aye.
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 Yeah, I think you ought to give the applicant an opportunity to withdraw the off-premises sign. I suggested a possible redesign, which you might, I don't know if you would entertain it or not, but I would just give them the opportunity.
Yes. Ask him if there's any objection before we go to vote on the first variance. Which is gonna be the. You got two issues. You gotta vote on each one. You know what I'm saying? It's going to vote, it's for both. Right.
Rick, if I may. So this arrow does point in the direction of both the overflow lot, which is right behind this pier, as also the main lot, which we're talking about for the access. I don't know if that is
I think
amenable
you,
for the board,
I think to make it,
in the
It's
interest of not
legal.
adding more signage too,
As-
because
to
that's
make it
also what we're trying to
interest-
avoid is having it be a sign fest.
I think there needs to be some look, I'm willing to concede that you have a right to put a sign on a parking lot that you own or lease, right? And tell people to park there. If you want to add an arrow that says bargain grocery this way, I'm not gonna, I mean, I think the board could probably, or they could entertain that anyways. But that sign doesn't indicate to me that you can park next in the lot next to the sign.
But why is that? You're pointing right at the spaces that are in the overflow lot behind this pier. You can't see it from this
It
rendering,
only indicates the bargain grocery.
but it's both lots.
So it's offsite.
But how else would you like us to
You want to argue
indicate the
about the
others?
findings?
No, no, I'm just asking I'm asking for some direction. How else would you want us to indicate that the overflow is also for bargain grocery, not just for people that happen to be driving by on Hoosick Street?
Haven't really thought about the answer yet. I mean, but I think, you know, you have a creative team there that could possibly come up with some indication that you would allow people to park in either location.
I mean, even that verbiage, overflow parking lot for, or
Exactly.
bargain
Bargain grocery.
grocery overflow.
Something like
Parking.
that. And
And then.
But on
and
this
then-
same format, can we agree
Well-
that this is the template everybody likes in terms of size?
It's smaller and less distracting. I think.
I'm okay with the size.
Yeah.
But it's,
Give me the
vague.
dimensions of the size.
it's 3 by 5.
3 by 5, yes,
You can fit those.
and
two
30
ways.
inches off the ground
Yeah.
for the posts. No, I think it can fit. I'm just thinking it does the job already the way it's designed.
If one says overflow and the other says, store parking,
Well, we're not doing two sides.
Well,
It's
it's
just gonna
right,
say-
it's one sign,
it's gonna
and
be
that's
one
what I'm
sign.
trying to achieve
Well,
here is just make it the one sign.
I'm just thinking out loud, if you had one arrow that almost pointed straight down and said overflow parking, another arrow that said store parking, or I don't know. I mean,
Small
but-
logo.
I'm actually trying to help you here, okay?
No,
So,
I
you-
appreciate
you,
that. So don't, I'm not
okay.
criticizing at all. I
So-
appreciate
so
you.
What I'm saying is, I
admitting
think
we
you
can
have a
put a
right to
sign
put
there.
a sign on your parking lot. That would not be off premises. If you want to indicate somehow that there's something down the street, people might be interested. I don't know if the board might entertain that in this
Maybe a
case.
Second sign though, you're suggesting?
Yeah,
No,
and-
no second sign
Just-
whatsoever.
Just another,
No.
more verbiage, just another word, I think, right?
That's what I said. Second arrow or something.
Let's offer them tape too.
Not the sign.
Or do
That's
it.
not our decision.
I can change the.
But it's ultimately, it's your call. Okay, I'm just trying to.
Are we ready to vote?
And I think
think that's the table,
with
isn't
that separation, asking for a copy of the lease, as you suggested, if we're going to separate that out, asking. for
Well,
that.
I think Rick said it's okay.
Oh,
Yeah,
Is that, Rick's trying to find them a solution to their lease.
Oh, okay.
Am I understanding that correctly?
a solution to, that's relatively consistent with the legal requirements here, okay, without, I understand what they're trying to accomplish. The letter of the law seems to bar them from having a freestanding sign in another location that might direct people to their business up the street. But, so I think there's a creative way you can kind of
I would
do
agree.
that, okay?
Would adding the word overflow and another arrow on the appropriate
Might,
side?
might be perfect. I don't know. I'm not the sign maker.
He's
We're
on
fine
the-
doing that. We just wish we could do it here and not have to wait another month because we're trying to put the sign up. So, I mean, could you conditionally approve it with that anecdote at the bottom to say you're required to show that it's also overflow for the lot that
Honestly, I
immediately
just
sits
came up,
next to?
you know, yeah, I think it's really on you to come back with a sign that the board can approve. Okay,
All right.
I'm sorry, nothing to lay. I mean, I don't know that you have 5 vote or 3 votes now yet anyway, so
Could I ask, we just bring this to a vote?
bring that, we'll bring the first sign.
Freestanding sign.
Well, no, well, we've got two signs. We've got
Right.
the one that's attached
It's
to the
on the
building.
store and we've got the one.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interfere.
Well, so we could table this one, or we could.
Or we
on
can
it.
vote on it.
I
You
think
can vote on
I
it. I'll
think
take
that's
my
up to you
chances.
guys.
No, we don't determine to table.
Okay.
They determine to
That's what I
table.
said.
or
It's up- it's up
withdraw.
to them.
You say take a chance, you take a chance.
Do you want us to
You
vote on
sure.
both? Do you want us to vote
Yeah,
on both?
vote on
sides?
both, please. Yeah,
All right, that's fine.
thank you.
I'm gonna make a motion to vote on the sign that's long and skinny and attached to the building, which I believe does not deteriorate the conditions in the neighborhood and will be of good standing. Is that enough said? Rick?
I think you have to meet all 5 tests or 4
No,
tests.
no, no, that's the area that I only have to satisfy one, don't I?
Oh, that's right.
Right? It's area,
It's an
so I
area.
just have
So
to
you
satisfy,
only have to satisfy one.
which
I
I
apologize.
believe I just did,
Yeah.
right?
You said that it
As-
it
It
would
doesn't
not be
create an undesirable change
in the
to the
neighborhood.
neighborhood.
That's fine. Need a second.
I would second that motion.
Evie?
I vote to approve.
Yes.
Approve.
Yes.
Yes,
Thank you.
Five approvals
For the one
for
sign.
the store sign, correct? So we'll bring the freestanding sign up now. Okay, so.
okay, okay, I vote,
We need a,
I know, I motion to vote on the freestanding off-premise sign. I don't actually know which one of these to pick, Rick. I personally think it's self-created, so I don't really, that's my opinion. Can I just say that? I don't know what I'm supposed to say here.
maybe someone else want to make the
I
motion.
think somebody else better make the motion.
Someone wants to.
I'll use the same one.
Still area variance, yeah.
Yeah.
So
So
they only have to satisfy.
I'm going to make a motion. I move that the board approve the variance with the condition that if they no longer lease the building or they lose the lease of that lot of land, they have to remove the sign. Uh, Based on the following fact, that it does not create an undesirable change in the character of the neighborhood.
That's enough. Is there?
Do I have a second?
You do. Second. KB.
I would like the vote to start on that end.
I vote no.
No.
No,
Yes.
No,
4 no's and 1 yes.
I guess we'll redesign.
There you go.
It's worth a shot. Thank you.
Okay.
Can I take a break real quick?
Yeah.
forty-five minutes. It's a 5-minute
Turn down.
procedure.
This one, once it's turned down.
Can we-
it's supposed to go to close.
Can we call the next one? Because it's- yeah.
Goes on way too long. I'm not criticizing you. Take them in order that they
Yeah.
appear.
It's River Street. KB, you're up.
The next one up is the Central Rock.
Okay.
Wait for him to get back.
Not for the same, with the same proposal.
The same general applicant, so I'll hang out.
Oh, all right.
Cross that bridge. Shouldn't have called it for the vote.
We gotta take a break, so give us a couple minutes. Thank you.
Yeah, exactly.
Sorry, everyone.
You're good. All right, so the next business is PLZBA 2025-0023, 547 River Street. Approach. Where's the agenda?
Good evening. My name is Jamie Coloratolo, representing Vital Sign and Graphics and my customer Central Rock Gym. My father was in my absence last week or last month, sorry. Yeah. Yeah, we're proposing, as you guys know, we're proposing an exterior stairwell sign. They are front lit channel letters. They're made out of aluminum. They have white LED lights in them with translucent vinyl film on the front. The size we think is adequate for viewing from alternate 7 coming down towards Hoosick Street. It allows people to find the business. They're a new business in the area. Beautiful rock climbing gym inside. I've seen it. I think it has a lot of potential to bring a lot of new people into the area. The second sign is on an exterior canopy that's facing west towards the Hudson. That is also a set of channel letters, as you see there. Front lit. And yeah, that's it.
I don't have a problem with that.
How far off the, where's that? I mean, I was there, so I saw it, but how far off the ground is that, the one by the front door?
I think we're 10 feet.
So can I see that if
From
I'm
here to
in a
here?
boat on the Hudson?
Probably not because the shoreline is all trees there until the
Okay.
city does the bike trail. It's pretty overforested.
It's covered from the Hudson.
You can't see it from the river
Okay.
right now.
All right, good. Okay.
That one we can, right?
Yeah.
This one from the river, it'd be pretty hard. This is behind the bridge from Point South. I think you have a very hard time seeing it from the river itself. This is intended to be seen from the highway. And like Jamie said, this is a new tenant coming to the area from out of state. They're a very good operator. I think Troy is going to be very happy to see them get going and operate this summer with the draw they have. They've already gotten a membership base upward of 350 before their start of business, which is great for them. And it's a great sport to do inside in a region where we kind of need that for a lot of our time of the year. What we're trying to do is make it so that they have good exposure to the general market, not just for Troy, but to bring people to Troy from the rest of the greater capital district, because rock gyms apparently are a very territorial endeavor in a market this size of the Troy, Schenectady, Albany MSA. You can really only justify one Olympic caliber facility like this. And that's why Central Rock Gym was very excited to join us in the rehab of the Flanagan building and add their addition just to the south of it between the bridge and the side of the factory building. So what we're trying to do, similar to Barton Grocery, is give them a good presence in the market, show people where they are. Because again, it's a difficult site to find their parking. They are another DOT lot licensee, or not a licensee, but their lease with us allows them to park under the bridge, which is right next to the front entrance. Angela, if you can pan down, you might be able to see a little bit. Oh, it got cut off. Actually, go back down. The underpass here is the main parking area for their tenancy, which is why their front door is oriented towards the river, not towards River Street. It's easier for their parking access to come to this point.
So the sign that says Central Rock
Gym.
is more on the back side of the building. where
Correct.
It would face the parking, not on the riverside part.
No, it is on the.
No, it's facing the river. So this looks at the
I'm at
Hudson
River
through the
Street.
trees. So you can't see it from the
You can't see it.
river itself.
Correct.
Correct, not from River Street. You would see the other sign from some points on River Street. If you're far enough away behind the bridge, you could see it, or if you're under the bridge looking north on River Street.
Is the bigger sign lit?
They're both lit.
So is there any like concern with like light for like people that live around there? Like,
No.
is there any apartments close by that we can say
No,
like?
there's none
'cause they would
south
be
of.
Keeping me up if I was sleeping.
No, it's facing our hotel, which is on the other side of the bridge, and our storage property, which is on the opposite side of River Street, but south of the bridge overpass. So there's no residential there. And then behind that, if you think about it, is actually this building, which is just office. So there's no residences that are going to be blinded by.
Or would it
the
blind
presence
anybody in
of
the
that.
hotel?
No, because the hotel rooms actually face east and west, where the edge of the building that faces this sign is actually the north entrance with the stair tower and the lobby entrance. Yes,
Dimensions on that sign.
that's your thing.
They're big.
So the canopy, that one, the canopy exterior is 261 inches wide by 30 inches tall.
The
Um,
can,
No, the letters themselves, the actual letters that fit in the canopy. The canopy is slightly larger.
The canopy is 364 inches wide.
The whole canopy. This from here.
Yeah,
Correct.
right. So the letters fit within the canopy.
how high are the letters?
They're 30 inches tall.
30 inches, so they're tall.
Mhm.
So I personally, I mean, I was there today, so I think the parking is super easy to find. I agree that I can't see it from the river. I don't have a problem. I don't know about the lighting part, but I don't have a problem with the signage on the front of the building. I am absolutely opposed to the signage on the tall part that I see from 787. I think it sets a precedent of lighted signs coming into our city, looking like, that's not what I want for our city. But this sign I like.
We vote on
Yeah,
them
can we do
separately?
separate?
For the point about the signs facing the highway, you kind of have that already with storage building on the opposite side of the highway overpass with a sign that basically does the same thing as the one on the stair tower. And our tenant asked us if he could put it on the stair tower, just so, like I said before, they're coming to the area from out of state. They're trying to get their customers to know where it is and to have good market presence, that was the best position on the building to place it, in their opinion. And we share that with them as their landlord. We wanted to see them grow and be successful and be another positive element to add to the fabric of Troy, and especially in North Central, which is the most depressed census tract in the whole capital district. We're trying to reinforce it with some good growth. This is how you have to do it, to have good marketing and show the customer this is how to access the new amenity that we're bringing to this neighborhood and the city overall.
That other sign you're referring to from that other business, is that lighted?
It's backlit. It actually just changed, and they must have come through zoning to do that probably 5 years ago for when it was Life Storage. It's since rebranded to Extra Space in the same square foot allowance of signage for the building. There's actually one facing the bridge on the north side, and there's one facing south on River Street on the, they call it the 1911 building. It's the old Fitzgerald Brothers bottling complex that's across the street and up 1 block from where we are right now.
Quick question. So is that sign we're talking about, it's backlit, right? It's halo lit?
It's backlit and it's lime green now because that's the branding of the storage operator, Extra Space. This is just white, and I don't think it's not a tasteless graphic. It's just neutral, and it's a white stair tower behind it, or it's a cream color, just off white.
I don't care for the lighting. Like right next to it is Rent This Apartment, which is like a big banner. Like that I don't even have a problem with, but.
That's a temporary banner too. That's
Exactly.
not going to
Probably
stay.
why I don't have a problem with it. I just don't, I don't think we need more lights. I think most people who are gonna use a Rockwell gym are gonna go on their ways or their GPS or whatever they're gonna do. They're gonna pull right in the parking lot. They're gonna find it. They're not gonna be driving by. And there's too much other good marketing out there, Instagram and all that stuff. The
Which
people that
they're
are
doing.
using this they don't need a sign on a building by 787.
I respectfully disagree.
Well, that's okay. That's fine. That's just my opinion.
Would it change your opinion if it was halo lit? Are you familiar with
I
that?
don't want anything lit.
No, it's a little more subtle than the face is actually being lit.
Yeah, I don't want to come from Latham down into Troy and see more commercial lit stuff right as I'm entering Troy.
I think it's on the highway overpass that you see it the most, not down at street level, which is what we're trying to avoid. Is we don't even have a street level sign for
I
the
know,
building
I know.
facing River
River
Street.
Street, I know.
It's meant to pull people to the riverfront so that when the trail does go through, it's an active node along that new path that we're all excited to see coming forward, and make it so that there's a lot of activity along that path. That was part of our whole planning submission with the city and also with the state, who helped us with some fundraising. Was we're trying to create nodes of interest along the future bike path on the river shore. This signage helps to accomplish that, but the signage on the stair tower helps to find the motorist that's coming in and locate them to the property. And it's part of their leased area. They actually use that stair tower to access their roof to do maintenance on their rooftop units that are above their addition. Instead of us putting a ship's ladder through the back of the rock wall structure and making it a hazard for people to climb through, we just made a bridge across from the existing stair tower that John Headley did about 30 years ago and just used it for their suite.
Sorry, is there any public opinion out there on this, folks? No? How about online? No one online? Okay. Well, I'd like to make a recommendation. If you guys would, I'd like to vote, split this in two also for the front and then also for the tower.
I second the motion.
All right.
Was that a
So
motion?
yep, that's great. Let's go and,
I vote to approve that motion.
okay.
Then I second.
All right.
Call your roll.
Okay, let's go and,
Which one are we
We gotta
voting on
vote on
first?
that.
we're gonna vote on the street sign first. How's that sound?
Vote to approve
Is that all right?
Oh,
Could you clarify, you mean the canopy sign?
You did not
He means the canopy sign.
the
Thank you.
motion that was made and seconded.
Can we vote to approve the motion that we just did? Can we vote? for
Yeah,
that first?
I vote to approve.
Yes.
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 Okay, we'll do the secret now then.
Ready?
Yeah.
Okay. Mr. Chairperson, with regards to PLZBA 2025-0023, as supported by the staff reports and the short environmental assessment form submitted by the applicant, I ask that the board find this proposal to be an unlisted seeker action with sufficient information available for a negative declaration.
Second,
Second.
I second.
all in favor?
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Aye. Okay, so can we vote on the street sign now?
So when you say the street sign, you mean the canopy
The
sign?
park-
Canopy sign,
parking lot
correct.
sign.
Evie,
Oh,
for the canopy sign.
we got to do the motion first.
Yes.
Yeah,
Oh.
that's what you need.
Oh, I move that the board approve the variance, the area variance for the street sign. That
You don't have them separated?
such sign will not create an undesirable change in the character of the neighborhood or be a detriment to nearby properties. And
That's all you need. That's all you
Let's see
need.
what they-
That's it.
yeah,
Just one. I'll second that motion.
All right. So
Yes.
let's vote. on the
I
motion.
vote to approve.
I vote to approve.
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 Thank you.
That's 5 approvals, 5 yeses. Now we'll go for the tower sign.
Yeah, I don't know if the applicant wants to,
I'll take my chances. May as well.
okay.
I move that the board approve the variance for the, is what we're going to call the tower sign, the sign on the stairwell
Mhm.
facing alternate Route 7. Because it does not create an undesirable change in the character of the neighborhood or nearby properties.
Need a second?
Do I have a second?
Yes. Take a vote.
I vote no.
I vote yes.
No.
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 Okay, so that's 4 no's and 1 yes.
Thank you.
Thanks.
All right. Turn the page. All right, this guy's gone. Yes.
Okay, the next, we had one that was canceled, so we're gonna go down to PLZBA 2025-0034, 78 7th Avenue. Want to come up?
Are we still in old business?
No, this is new
New.
business.
New business, okay.
Good evening to the panel. My name is Clifton Davis. I'm the property owner of 78 and 7th Ave, Troy, New York, Lansingburg. I submit an application for possible installation of a 6-foot fence to my property for additional security. I'm a father of 3 kids, 2 girls and a boy.
Couple of questions.
Please.
I did a drive-by. You're on the corner of 101st and 7th Avenue, correct?
Yes,
You have the 2-family house on that corner.
yes.
I will say that it is very well maintained.
Please, thank you.
You deserve a lot of credit. It's impeccable.
Thank you.
It looks good. Now, tell us in your own words what you want to do with this 6-foot vinyl fence versus the old
Metal fence.
metal fence that's there.
Yes. So for my kids, I used to live in a rental from I've been here 15 years, and I used to live in rent houses and stuff, which
no additional spaces for my kids them to get outside and enjoy outside, play around and move around, which you know, in this time and stuff like that, not getting outside exposure, moving around and stuff like that, increase obesity and stuff like that. I would like for my kids them to be able to enjoy the outdoors, but at the same time, I don't want them to be out there and like being an eyesore to people. First thing, I'm thinking about their security, being outside. Sometimes you're inside, you're busy, you're not able to pay attention to them and stuff like that. With a 6 feet fence, securing the property, giving them that peace of mind, giving me that peace of mind, that level of privacy and that extra level of security for them to be outside moving around and able to enjoy their outside and stuff like that. I would greatly appreciate. I have 2 daughters. They would like to be outside. I have a small pool. They would like to be outside sometimes in the pool, the summer is hot and stuff like that. I don't want them to be a eyesore unto the neighbors or people passing by because I don't have that privacy. And then I don't want them to be outside exposing and for predator eyes, which we're living in a society we don't know who is who or what people is thinking and stuff like that. So that's why I requested the permission to install a 6 feet fencing.
When I face your house and I look at the front door,
Yes,
are you talking about running the fence across the back, up on the 101st Street side, and then over to where the stairs to the door come?
no, well, I'm looking to do from the corner where the exist. I'm not changing anything where the existing fence is. I'm just replacing the fencing as it is for more security and privacy.
But
So I'm not,
it
go
would
ahead.
not enclose the whole house.
No. So where the existing fence is, from the front of Alma to the corner, goes right around to the
Yes.
back of the property and the back street and stuff. That's what I'm looking to do.
Okay.
What is
thank you.
exactly there?
I'm good.
Thank you.
I went by also and your house is impeccable.
Thank you
Just
so
to-
much.
Just to reiterate what Steve said, so. And I perfectly understand why you want a 6-foot fence myself, so.
Me too.
I guess.
I'm ready to make a
I
motion,
let you make a motion.
but then unless there's somebody.
Is there anybody out there that has any? Okay, how
Anybody
about
online?
anybody online?
I had one more question. So
Please.
you said it's a 2-family house.
It
Do you
is.
have a tenant that lives in one of those?
Well, we occupied, yes, we had somebody living upstairs.
Are they okay with the fence?
Yes, they do, because they also have a dog that sometimes they be out in the premises and stuff like that, having the dog running around and stuff like that. So they do enjoy the premises as well.
All right, I'd like to make a motion that we approve PLZBA 2025-0034. I believe that it will not have an adverse effect or impact on the physical environmental conditions of the neighborhood or district.
Type 2. Just before you do that, just, we make a
Seeker?
Secret.
seeker.
Oh, sorry.
No worries.
It's a type 2.
Mr. Chairperson, in regards to PLZBA 2025-0034, as supported by the staff reports, I ask that the board find this proposal to be a seeker type 2 action with sufficient information available upon which to state that no determination is necessary or required.
I second.
Vote to approve?
Approve.
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 Thank you so much. I appreciate it a
That
lot.
was
Thank you.
for the- that was for the seeker.
her, But hang on,
Oh,
we're
okay,
coming
okay,
back to
sorry.
you.
That's it, the environmental perspective.
Oh, okay, thank you. I'm sorry.
Okay, so I make a motion to allow his variance for his 6-foot fence. I don't believe it will make any difference in the neighborhood.
I second.
I vote to approve.
Approve.
Absolutely approve.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Approve.
Approve.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Good luck.
Thank you.
5-4, right?
Thank you guys so much. I appreciate it a lot.
5-0. I meant 5.
Yes. right.
5 for you.
5 for,
Five yeses.
5 in favor.
I've said,
All right.
all right, National Grid.
Okay, this one, PLB, or PLZBA 2025-0031, 249 River Street, National Grid.
It's a good point. It's a dumb question, sorry. You're welcome. No. Okay. That's all right.
Good evening. Members of the board, my name is Jessica Leese. I'm senior counsel with National Grid's New York Siting Group with offices at 2 Hanson Place in Brooklyn, New York. With me this evening, I also have Nick Schwartz with our engineering firm CHA and Evan Galatelli from our architecture firm SRA. So we're here this evening requesting an area variance of Troy zoning code section 285-45 D2 in order to construct a new approximately 1,400 square foot energy center building with an insufficient riverview corridor. So the proposed energy center building is located at 249 River Street within the city's downtown mixed use and downtown 2 development intensity zone. The property is owned by the city of Troy and the intention is for the property to be leased to Troy Local Development Corporation and then subleased to National Grid. The proposed energy center building will serve as an accessory building to our proposed Troy Utility Thermal Energy Network or U10 project. So to provide you with a brief overview of the U10 project, this is an initiative under New York State's Utility Thermal Energy Network and Jobs Act, whereby new thermal energy technology would transfer energy from a thermal source into a distribution loop where individual buildings are connected via highly efficient water sourced heat pumps. The proposed thermal source for the Troy U10 project is a geothermal bore field within the city. The generation equipment is going to be installed and operated and maintained by Troy LDC, and National Grid will own, install and operate and maintain the distribution piping. And the proposed energy center building is going to house equipment which would facilitate the continuous circulation of water from the geothermal bore field to the heat pumps. So we're here this evening requesting relief before this board as we appeared before the planning board in April for preliminary review and were directed for a variance of code section 285-45 subsection D2, which provides that all developments within 200 feet of the mean high water mark of the Hudson River or seawall or development to be located on land between the riverbank and nearest public street paralleling the river there shall be an opening of at least 30 feet between buildings to provide unobstructed view corridors to the river. So we're proposing no setback to the north, the side property line that abuts 251 River Street. And as such, we're seeking a variance. So as a public utility, there is case law that National Grid isn't, or generally public utilities are entitled to a more lenient standard of review. However, even pursuant to the area variance standards that are delineated in General City Law, Section 81-B, subsection 4, the applicable facts will demonstrate that the benefit to National Grid by granting the variance will outweigh any potential detriment to the health, safety, and welfare of the community. So regarding the first criteria, the requested variance would not cause an undesirable change in the character of the neighborhood. I'm gonna actually give you some handouts. So the subject zoning code provision that we're seeking a variance was recently adopted in 2023 when the zoning code was updated. But you have to consider that we're constructing our building in a historic district where much of the architecture was developed prior to the enactment of this code provision. So if you look at the character of the existing district, you'll find that our proposed alignment of the building is more consistent with the neighborhood. So in front of you, the 2 exhibits. So I'm showing you the aerial view of River Street. And you can see a few areas actually comply with the 30-foot view shed protection standard. So to the north, there's one provided Riverview corridor. It's between 271 and 275 River Street, where there previously was a building that was demolished. So as such, there's a corridor there. Otherwise, there's no other Riverview corridors in the stretch of buildings to the north. To the south, we're providing the required 30 feet on the city's parcels. The city parcel we're developing on, which is parcel 101.53-1-1. There's another city parcel that's vacant. And then there's a stretch of buildings that extend as far south as State Street without any Riverview corridors. And then south of State Street, there is a parking garage. Though it does have views through to the river, they are obstructed, so not in compliance with the code. And then again, another stretch of buildings without any Riverview corridors extending to Congress Street. So as such, our proposed variance would be in line with the other developments along River Street and would not create an undesirable change in the historical character of the neighborhood. Regarding the second area variance criteria, National Grid does not have an alternative other than the requested variance. So while this section that we're seeking a variance of provides that there must be 30 feet between buildings, Section 28540, which is the bulk requirements of the D2 development intensity zone, it provides that the setbacks of buildings must be no greater than 10 feet from the side property line. So it's legally impossible to comply with both sections of these codes, since one is requiring 30 feet between buildings and one is requiring a maximum of a 10-foot setback. So as such, we're proposing to comply with the bulk requirements and provide a 0-foot setback for the northern side property line. And then we're also complying within the 10 feet on the southern side property line from the leased lot line. As for the third criteria, whether the requested area variance is substantial, this board should not consider the substantiality of the variance in degree alone, especially in light of the contradicting zoning sections. And rather, New York State case law has provided that the board should consider the balancing test outlined in general city law and consider whether the application as a whole provides a benefit to the applicant more than it impacts the health, safety, and welfare of the community. So the last two area variance criteria, there is no evidence presented here that the proposed variance would have an adverse impact on the physical or environmental conditions in the neighborhood. So this project, the Energy Center building, was actually included in a full environmental assessment form for Troy Local Development Corporation's proposed Clean Thermal Energy Network project, or C10 project. And the C10 project was ultimately determined to not have a significant adverse environmental impact pursuant to the State Environmental Quality Review Act, or SECRA. So the building itself was included in that SECRA determination. But if you consider this building alone and the variance that we're requesting, it would be a type 2 action. It is a commercial structure less than 4,000 square feet of gross floor area. And the relief requested is for an area variance of an individual setback requirement. So it would be presumed pursuant to SECRA to not have an adverse environmental impact. And then last, whether the requested area variance is self-created. So given the legal impossibility of compliance with the two differing sections of the code, 285-45D2 and 285-40, National Grid sets forth that the requested variance is not self-created. And furthermore, any self-creation should not preclude this board from granting the area variance pursuant to New York State city law, general city law. So accordingly, we would put forth that the benefit here of granting the area variance would outweigh any potential impact to the community. And we respectfully request that this board approve the variance of section 285-45D2. Yes.
Questions? I went down to the site. I walked it. You mentioned a lack of corridors between buildings on River Street weren't those buildings pre-existing prior to that 30-foot corridor view accessibility? You're implying that they're all not in compliance, therefore it's okay for you to do what they did, but what they did was years ago before it even became an issue. Am I correct in that assumption?
No, you are correct that they're
No,
pre-existing.
I'm not.
No,
or
no,
yes, I
sorry,
am?
sorry. You are correct that they're pre-existing structures. My point for that was that the building that we're proposing fits in the character of the neighborhood more so.
Yeah, but the implication was all of those other buildings were not in compliance, therefore it's okay for you not to.
I'm sorry if I gave that impression. I was
That's the
just,
impression I was
okay.
getting.
I was trying to convey that it's more in character with the layout of the neighborhood as is.
Now, the second question is, that's a very small plot of land. I don't know what the following term means, and I'm sure you're going to explain it. Energy centered building.
Yes.
I have no idea what that means.
So we do have our design team here that could explain a little bit more, but
Okay, in
basically,
simple English.
okay, it's housing equipment. There's tanks inside, basically equipment that's going to facilitate and regulate the energy. But if somebody wants to step up and talk a little bit more, since I'm not an
Explain what
engineer.
geothermal is.
So geothermal is when you drill a well down into the ground and you use that well as a stabilizing feature over the year. In the summertime, it takes heat out of water to allow it to cool. And in the winter time, it allows heat to get into the loop that you have. So basically you have a loop that goes down into the well, comes out.
Is the loop piping?
It is a continuous piped loop. Yes. It's a
Where's it
continuous
go to?
system.
Where is it going to?
So it comes from the well
Mhm.
to a pump facility, which that's what the energy center is called. It's basically a set of pumps and tanks that pull the water pull the liquid from in the pipe system through the pipe system and then distribute it out through a distribution system, which is pipes,
Mhm.
to a heating unit, right?
Mhm.
And then it comes back and it's a continuous loop. So it loops from one to the other, and then goes back into the well and gets pulled out again. So that's what geothermal is. It allows off-putting of heat and increasing the coolness during summer periods of time. Does that make sense to
It does.
people?
Who is this servicing?
Who is this going to?
So this is servicing a pilot project that is within the downtown corridor, based from right along River Street in the Monument Square area, and then comes back down through
It goes south on Third to State Street, I think.
Yes.
And then down State Street, it's going to service some music hall. I don't think it goes all the way to Congress. And then it goes back on Second, I think, towards River Street. It's a very, the project is really just beginning. It's something that the council, I believe, has approved at least in its broadest outlines. It would involve these geothermal wells, which will be closer to the river. The liquid will be in pipes. It'll go down into the earth. It'll pick up the earth temperature in summer. That will be cooling, and in winter that will be a jump start on heating a building. And it'll come up from the ground. It'll be pumped into the network, the loop that I just talked about, and then the buildings along the loop. How they're going to access this, I don't know yet, but I imagine bigger brains than mine have a plan.
So all of
Yes, sir.
this piping that you're alluding to is not in fact in place today.
No, absolutely not. So
The
that,
wells are not even drilled
No,
yet.
I'm just making sure I understand.
yes,
You're in the
correct.
theoretical design phase, not,
We are nearly through the design phase.
all right.
Um,
When I was down there standing in front of that small plot of land, I looked through the fence and I saw National Grid trucks parked on that large dirt unfinished parking area, which you can see in that photo. Who owns that piece of land?
The city owns that piece of land. The city of Troy.
Why wouldn't you do what you want to do on that piece of land
This-
versus that small plot on the picture?
So the leased area has been determined by the efficiency of the pumps and where the pumps need to be located through the design of the system. Also through the desire of the city to use as little leased area as possible for the project.
So is this more like a maintenance operational center room? Or are there drilling pipes going down through the ground on that site?
No, there's no pipes there'll be pipes that are coming up into the site
Yeah,
that are underground, but there are no other piping equipment in there. Think of this as a mechanical room in a commercial building.
that's what I'm trying to.
That's
envision.
exactly what it is. Give you, it's exactly that. It's,
So are you planning to abut that building?
yeah, it has a zero.
That's what they're asking for.
Yeah.
So in this location, it's a zero lot line. So it's butted up right adjacent to the adjacent building.
So that orange building, is that your proposed picture?
Yes, that is the proposed design.
And you'll abut that building?
Yes,
So there'll be no alleyway, no view of the river
not in that location.
in that location?
What's the width of that building?
30 feet.
The width is 30 feet?
Yes, ma'am.
30 feet across the front from end to end.
Yes, along the front facade. Evan Galatelli, Cyberts and Rogosu Architects. Thank you for having us.
So this is like a cooling and heating substation for whatever, for the loop that we've discussed. I know this isn't on you, but I mean, and Troy wants to put something like that, like right in the heart of our beautiful square.
There is nothing there now.
I realize there's nothing there.
It's an
I'm-
empty lot.
We have had 2 meetings with the historical review committee. We've adjusted the design based on their comments. They were happy with the design from the start, that it fits in with the historical nature.
I do like the facade. I mean, I'm shocked that downtown, right at Monument Square, they're putting a substation, which is not,
So it's
nobody's gonna use it or enjoy it.
so
So
it's a super efficient way to heat and cool a building.
I understand.
So
understand-
so
I
it gives an
understand
advantage for someone
geothermal.
that wants to go down at another lot to say, okay, we have this really cool new, and it's not really new tech, it's been around for a long, long
Yeah,
time.
yeah.
They
But
could
it's
put
super
that
efficient.
building anywhere.
No, so
That's my point. It's
So I
just-
don't think they can though, because so I just know a little bit about geothermal lines. I actually installed one at a buddy's house. So it has to be, there's a specific location for it to work. And I think that's what they were saying, that based on where they want the loop to run and how they want the loop to run,
That's the.
this is where it needs to be.
No, it could be on the lot below. and you
No,
could-
it can't because of the way the pipe, the way that they have to drill to get to the water line in there. It can't be below. It's too high. That's why it has to be up on that pier. Unless I'm
And
incorrect.
There have been discussions with the city's administration about the chosen location on the lot. And it is a low intensity use, which, I mean, it's not going to cause more traffic in the area. It basically self-maintains. It gets maintained, there's two maintenance, two individuals that attend to it for 4 hours a week. So it is a low intensity use. And again, we've been, for this pilot program, been in various discussions with the city's
So
administration.
what's next door? So that's what the concern is. These pumps are kind of noisy. They're not super quiet, are they?
Well, there's a bar right
Correct.
there, and then it goes to the art center, and then they.
So I mean,
My understanding is the rooftop equipment would be the source of noise for a typical type building for HVAC. And there are noise attenuating installations.
there's no apartments right next there on the above, are there?
Well, there's leased buildings, yeah.
Yeah, so they're probably apartments.
It's a law firm building.
It's a law firm. Okay, okay, I know where you are now.
It's a 5-story building. It's
Yeah.
commercial rental space. It has an elevator.
The rooftop units will have sound dampeners around it. If you look at the top story there of the top layer of windows, it's actually exposed to above. It's a very tall parapet with 2 wides of walls. So to further enhance the suppression of sound. So we are working with the rooftop manufacturer to control that sound, but not only through the system of the rooftop manufacturer, but through the design of the very tall parapet, we're also achieving that sound suppression.
But the pumps are inside the building, right? So you're not worried about ambient
Correct.
noise getting to the neighbor? Like if I worked in that building next door, I wouldn't want to all day, you know?
Geothermal is typically known for being a very quiet system.
What about safety? I mean, you're in the heart of the city. Are there any safety concerns? Have they been addressed?
Regarding perhaps visibility or privacy into the space,
No, safety of the operation inside the building.
Like if one of the lines blows, you're gonna have a
Well, one of
flood.
the lines blows, it's a problem.
You're gonna have a
Because there's
flood.
not water in there.
So we designed the system to be safe, efficient. There are containment areas within the existing building, the proposed building for catchment if something happens.
Has National Grid done this anywhere else, like in other cities? Like, is this the first one of its kind?
This is all simultaneously being done. There's 4 pilot projects going on throughout the state. One is in Syracuse, 2 other in downstate New York. It's pursuant to a Public Service Commission. There's funding, so there's a whole scheme, but they've been done they're all being done at the
There's
same
no
simultaneous time.
pre-existing history to go back to.
Not with National Grid. Anywhere else, so have they used this? Now that you know of?
The pilot program there's other utilities also applying, but they're all basically in the same phase because of how the regulations came out.
I think there's one somewhere in New England.
Yeah.
What is the status of those other locations, with regards to zoning issues or, presentations?
So as far as I'm more involved with the Syracuse one, we're working right now. We had to do a relocation there. We ended up doing, because for issues, we couldn't obtain the property. So they're a little bit behind, but we're going through planning board review for that building. I think we're going to need a variance as well for our height. But yeah.
So the relocation was due to ownership issues? nothing-
The property owner we were working with, but
So my question is, with this variance that you're requesting, two questions. If we denied it, you would just move it over 30 feet, right? It'd still be there?
well, we'd have to renegotiate the square footage that's being proposed in the lease with the
Okay.
city.
And then the second question is, how much corridor does that leave me with? Because I know you're saying you're only 30 feet wide, which is okay. But I can't get a feel of how much corridor that leaves me. I mean, I know what the space looks like, so that's because I go to the farmer's market, but does anybody have a feel for, that gives me X much or approximately?
Yeah, approximately more than 300 feet. I don't have service, but I could,
You're saying about 300 feet?
more that he was saying approximately more than 300 feet. It is quite a wide, the
Yeah, I
city.
know it is, yeah, I'm
the-
just trying to see, yeah.
So if you look on the diagrams I provided, the city's land runs until the next building
Right.
to the
okay.
south.
Stop.
Yeah,
That's the area you're talking about.
Yes.
yeah, actually, and are those, is that as wide as it is, where the green starts? Is that the end of the building?
From the red brick to where the green starts is about
Is that
the
correct?
property.
Is that
line.
about 30 feet?
Plus.
So those cattle things are, or those whatever, are about 10 feet?
I mean, we do have to keep in mind too, that there needs to be a variance here either way because of how the city's code is designed, right? We either have to have a variance of this or a variance of the maximum permitted setback from the property line, which is 10 feet.
The 10 feet or the 30 feet?
So you can't comply with both.
Well, that-
Yeah.
How difficult would it be to find a different location and let the city beautify that area so you'd have river view?
I mean, this has been months of.
I understand.
No.
That was not my question.
And we had looked into other locations. This was ultimately determined to be the most suitable. I'm not day in and day out involved in those conversations with the administration, but it was extensive amount and we had other locations targeted and ultimately it was worked with the administration that this was the best.
So the pipes are gonna go from the building on, there's the well, right? And it's gonna go to the Hudson River.
So the wells are essentially they're going to be in the parking lot that's in Riverfront Park right now.
But you're not gonna see them. They're gonna be underground.
They're going to, I think they're going to drill about 200 of them. They're going to be underground.
But they're not.
The parking, the area will be restored to park once the wells are installed. That's how I understand the plan.
To answer your question, sir. Yes, sir. I'm sorry.
I didn't know what I had. I didn't know what question.
So the answer to the question is, you will not see the wells, wellheads, or any appurtenances above ground. So it's all underground and all the piping's underground. So what you'll see at the end is, probably graded area, maybe paved area. And eventually, when the funds become available, the Riverfront Park expansion in that location.
How will you access the wells for maintenance purposes?
You don't have a pump in the well. It's just, the pumps are in this building and in another building.
So you're just drawing water from the
You're
wells.
just pulling not the water, but the pipe solution out of it.
But if there's any sort of compromise in the walls of the well, you'll have to dig.
They're all piped and they're all lined. So they're all cased with casing to a point where they hit bedrock and then it's bedrock.
So they're sleeved and deep
Yes,
enough.
they're sleeved and deep enough.
It's like a blank.
Okay.
If you're not drawing water from the well in the proverbial sense of the word, what are you drawing from the well?
You're drawing and you're excreting heat and you're taking coolness from the water that's in the well through the piped solution. So you've got
What is the pipe solution?
it's like a glycol,
What is glycol?
Antifreeze.
antifreeze.
And that's a toxin, is it not?
So, but you're running it. Wow.
It's contained.
It's contained. And
Supposed-
yeah, I'm sure it's environmentally safe, like all that. I have environmentally safe, so I put my pool, I don't know. Specific application. But it basically goes down, the water cools it or warms it, and then it runs through and it cools or warms the building. So then your temperature for cooling and heating, instead of having to go from or 90 degrees today was to bring it down to reasonable for you to be comfortable in the building. Brings it from, 90 to 75, so you're going down 5 degrees. That's the whole point of it. But it's very efficient. That's the whole idea, that it doesn't cost a ton to run these pumps and to build these wells, so it helps with heating cost and emissions instead of doing other types of things. It's probably better than Freon and an air conditioner. That makes sense.
I understand what you're saying.
That's what I didn't know they could do it commercially. The only ones I've ever seen application, the guy that lives next to me, he owns a company that does this, but he does it for residents. And I had a buddy that did it at his house in Clifton Park. He kind of made his own thing. Google got into this business a few years ago with a company called Daisy, where they were drilling these eco wells, these wells for,
Really need to speak up a little bit
Oh.
or in the mic or something.
I said, Google got into this business a few years back with a company called Daisy that was building these geothermal wells for homes. And it's kind of like the new thing to do when you're building a new home. It's expensive though, if you're doing it on home. My understanding is to put it, when you're building a new home, this is the best way to heat and cool your home. But I don't know how on commercial levels can work, but it's neat that I didn't even know you could do it on a commercial level. It's kind of exciting.
Is it gonna go into the residents too that are in that loop?
It's going to go to any building user that would like
And
to
it's- and
entertain an offload on it.
It's more efficient and it's gonna cost less money to those people
It's,
for their heating and
it's,
cooling.
it's more efficient and the fees are capped for a certain amount of time. It's also, when you look at, carbon and net zero, that's what this is. You have zero emissions
I wish I lived
for
on
this
that.
So
system.
how does National Grid make money on this project?
National Grid, this is a pilot project for National Grid.
I also think government's funding some of this with
Right.
subsidized to some way because it's cleaner.
There right now, we have to apply every time. There's stages of approvals to designate how much money we can go towards this. I can't speak to logistics of how we make money into the future, but it is a pilot program and it very well could lose money because of that nature. So
I've had some experience in different kinds of well work. How far down do these wells go? I mean, they don't have to tap into anything. They're just a containment well. So how far down do they go?
Approximately 600 feet.
far.
I think if it's okay with the board, it's time to,
Yeah. Yeah.
ask the public, you had any questions or any feedback?
Hi, I'm John Elbaum. I live at 16 Lindsay Drive in Troy. I'm the executive director of the Troy Savings Bank Music Hall. We are very supportive of this project. We've invested hundreds of thousands of dollars with the hope of potentially tying into this geothermal loop and saving energy costs, be more efficient and saving us money in the future. I think it's a benefit for the Troy, and this pilot project could be a great benefit for the state in the future, and we're very hopeful that this moves forward.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else out there? Or how about online? Anybody online? Nobody online?
Yeah, people online, but nobody's.
No questions?
I think we have to do secret on this one, right?
What's that?
Don't we have to? I think we do them on all of them, don't we?
I think so.
Secret?
Secret.
Type 2.
Seeker?
Yep.
Okay. Mr. Chairperson, in regard to PLZBA 2025-0031, as supported by the staff reports, I ask that the board find this proposal to be a seeker type 2 action with sufficient information available upon which to state that no determination is necessary or required.
A second.
We'll take a vote then.
I approve.
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 It's 5 approve. 5 approvals, 5 yeses, no nos.
That's for the seeker.
I make a motion that the board approve the variance based on the following fact, that it's not going to create an undesirable change in the character of the neighborhood, and it is not a self-alleged difficulty, or it's not self-created.
I second that motion.
Ready to take a vote?
Yep,
Okay.
I approve.
Enthusiastically, yes.
No.
Approve.
Approve.
Four approve, one no.
Thank you for your time this evening.
Thank
Yep.
you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Okay. Next up, PLZBA 2024-0033. Troy Savings Bank Music Hall.
Hi, good evening, board members. Thank you for your time tonight. We'll give the city staff a moment. Hey, Angie. My name is Dash Christner. I'm the architectural designer of this project and this proposal at Architecture Plus. Tonight, I proudly represent the applicant, the Troy Savings Bank Music Hall Corporation and Foundation. Our ask tonight is a use variance for the use of one electronic message center, or just a digital display signage at the Troy Savings Bank Music Hall in the courtyard right along 2nd Street. A little bit of context here. This is a very critical component of what is called the Troy Music Hub Expansion Project. We are, I'm sure you've seen, perhaps on 2nd and State, active construction. We're turning the bank hall into a revitalized event space to expand the event space capabilities of the facility as a whole. We're also bringing heating and cooling into the existing music hall space. So it's expected to increase the folks coming to the music hall by 30 to 40% at the facility at large, both the hall and the hub. And it might surprise you, but 70% of the attendees of music hall events are actually from outside of Rensselaer County. So messaging and identifying the space is absolutely critical. I'm sure all of you and everyone in this room could identify the music hall building in a slew of every other building in downtown Troy, but that's just not the case for folks that come from out of town. So again, a little specifics here and some history. We did receive Planning Commission approval in July. We did receive our building permit, hence why there's active construction as we speak. And then in August, we originally applied to come before all of you for what was, I'd say, an unclear vision of 4 electronic message centers. What was the Planning Commission at the time, as well as members of the public, had very realistic and rational concerns about the lighting and how it could trespass into nearby residences. So we've taken some time to not only better understand the extent of our budget, but also put those considerations into the project. So what I'm speaking on is that the sign that we have now is facing north and south. To the north, it's facing an office building, the E. Stewart Jones building, and to the south, it's facing what is the walkway and the sidewalk in front of the music hall building. It is, the screens themselves are not facing west toward the residences across the street. The single EMC does have 2 displays on either side. They're, I think, 3'7" high by 1'11" wide, and in common household TV dimensions, that's a 48-inch diagonal. So relatively compact, relatively modest. Both of those screens are housed within an aluminum body. The design, which you see in front of you, is in keeping with some architectural motifs of the building itself. So it's historically respectful, I would say. Yeah, that is our ask tonight. I will clarify that some of the information that was posted on the agenda came from our former August submission, which was 4 EMCs, and it included an area variance. So I do want to clarify that this sign is only to be installed at 30 2nd Street, that courtyard space in front of the annex building, And we are only asking for a use variance, no area variance needed, and no EMC at 32 or 42
about
Second
one.
Street. Just one EMC. That's right.
Got it.
So I have a question. So
Sure.
this is not pixelated, correct? This is like looking at a television screen
Exactly. It is an LCD screen.
and
Yes.
both sides.
Yep.
And is there, you know, you talked about interfering with, because I know
Yeah,
there's an
that's
apartment
it.
building right across the
Mhm.
street. Is there a time when it gets dimmer at night or goes off at night or?
Yes, so the intended operating hours that I've been told from the client are 9 AM to 10 PM. Their shows typically end around 9 or 10 PM and then it would shut off.
It goes off?
There are also ambient lighting restrictions or standards in the city code that we would completely comply by. So those would also allow the screens to not be overly bright on a day that it doesn't need to be.
And it's really, I mean, you only have one show at a time, so
Mhm.
is it, it's not gonna be moving. It's gonna be like, this is what it is, or is there gonna be a continuous flow of stuff?
We hope to have a continuous flow of some posters and other images. It would certainly be slow. It would be steady. It wouldn't be fast. It wouldn't be strobing. It wouldn't be sliding through at an unreadable pace. But it certainly would cycle through at a leisurely pace.
Okay, so like what's playing tonight? and what's
Exactly.
playing
What's
next
playing tonight, upcoming shows, community events, other announcements and things like that. If in the Music Hub space, we intend to have conferences or weddings. So perhaps something of that nature to lead folks into the space to announce that type of event.
And that timeframe is built into this already? Do we need to, if we go forward, we need to specify that, the 9 to 10, 9 AM to 10?
Sure, that's what we're working with now. You're welcome to provide any feedback or suggestions. Yeah.
I don't have any questions.
Anything from the public out there on this?
My name is Stuart Jones.
You gotta come up to the-
Building next door.
You have to come up to the mic.
Sorry.
That's okay. Take your time. We're not going anywhere.
My family's been in that building for 75 years. I've been practicing law there for 50+ years. What's good for the music hall is good for the city of Troy.
Oh. Okay. Thank you.
It's a gem. RPI and the music hall are the two most important buildings, structures, businesses in this city. Endorse it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Anyone else? How about online? Sorry, any questions from online?
There was a letter received that I forwarded to Angie and
We got it.
Yep, we got
super.
it.
Great. You don't want me to read it out loud?
No, we all read it. We're good.
Part of the record.
Great.
Keep it on the record.
Do we need to read that letter?
No, you don't need to.
No, it's,
We're good.
All right.
Do we do the secret now?
The planning commission is lead agency.
the
For what it's
lead,
worth.
lead agency was the planning commission, right?
Yeah.
Planning board, so.
That's
uh,
the case in part.
So
It
that,
was not there.
Right.
have they named it yet? Okay, all right, they have.
They issued the neg deck, right?
They issued, I do recall
So
now,
we
they
don't
did,
need to
the
do that.
planning, the prior commission issued a neg deck. What he's here for is a use variance because this is a prohibited sign, I guess.
So do we need to make any statement at all? with
No,
regards-
no.
Yeah, Okay.
The only statement we want to make is the 9 AM to 10 PM.
That's a condition of the variance if you grant it, I guess. You can add that condition to the, so that could be part of the motion.
I would like to move that the board approve this variance with conditions that comes on at 9 AM and shuts off at 9 PM.
10 PM.
10 PM, sorry. Based on the following facts, I do believe that it will provide a reasonable return for the property. I believe that the Troy Music Hall is unique compared to similar properties in our neighborhood. I think the requested variance will not alter the character of our neighborhood, and I believe that it is not self-created.
I second that motion.
I have to read all of them, right?
Ready to vote, right? Okay.
I vote to approve.
Approve.
Yes.
Approve.
Yes.
Thank you,
Bye.
board members. Much appreciated.
Can't wait. You're getting air conditioning too.
Yes, come on to a show.
I went to a whole bunch this spring, so.
Thank you all. Take care.
Take care. Okay.
No, I know.
That's a happy happening. That's a happy happening.
All right, let's go with PLZBA 2025-0032-1718 Highland Avenue.
Good evening, Commissioners. My name is Paul Mingrino. I'm with Amicus 3 LLC Properties. We did buy 1718 Highland Avenue last year. It was on bid. We bid on the property. There was an existing home on the property that the city had torn down. It was quite dilapidated. We own 6 houses to the east of the this lot. So what our intention is to build a 2-story, 2-family home, basically in that same footprint. But it does not meet because the lot size is only 36.53 feet wide, and the variance it calls for, excuse me, the zoning minimum width is 40 feet. So I don't know what I can do with changing the 40 feet other than asking for a variance on this property. That's about all I have. Go ahead.
So essentially, you buy the land from the city of Troy.
Yes, I did.
You want to put a 2-family house up, and you want us as a zoning board to waive that 4 foot.
That is correct.
Got it.
It's actually a little less than 4 feet, but yes,
Approximately.
yes, approximately.
And you're following the footprint of a pre-existing building. for the
That is
most part.
correct.
I have no problem with any of that.
Okay, let's do it.
So can we do we'll do the seeker on this one.
So it is a type 2.
Type 2.
Do you want to check for questions with regards to this subject?
There's
or-
nobody else in here.
or,
Well, no, the-
Online, we can do
You
it.
have to do online, right?
Anybody online?
Anybody online?
Can you hear me? Hello?
Yes.
Hi, I'm sorry, I'm trying to get my camera on. I live at 1716 Highland Avenue. In a single residence home, and I am in
Hang
the.
on here, this.
Right.
Can you state your name and address, please?
My name is Jennifer Ezzo, and I live at 1716 Highland Avenue in Troy.
Okay.
Hi, thank you for taking my comment and question. So I live in the lot directly next door to 1718 Highland, and I'm excited that something's happening with the lot. I know I'm going to be living right next to the construction site, and I was just wondering if the new proposed construction was going to be like even closer to my house that I'm anticipating, and if Amicus would be willing to put up a privacy fence. I know it's going to be for rental, a 2-unit rental home, and I would be living directly kind of right on top of some RPI students, and I was wondering if that would be a possibility.
Yeah, I don't see a problem why we could why we could not put a fence up. We can put a fence up to give you privacy on that side. The distance between the house to the property line is 5 feet 4 inches on your side of the property. That's just to the property line. Then you have, I think, a sidewalk or a driveway there or something. I could put that on that property line up there to give you privacy, because I plan to put one in the back as well.
That's great. Thank you so much.
That's easy. I like that.
Thank you.
We'll see you in the neighborhood.
Okay, I'm looking forward to it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Is the board okay?
Yeah.
Words are okay, but I would include the variance.
Reggie.
Yeah, provides a privacy fence.
Ready-
We gotta do secret on this.
Ready for
We'll
seeker?
do secret
Okay.
and then do that.
All right, Mr. Chairperson, in regard to PLZBA 2025-0032, as supported by the staff reports, I ask that the board find this proposal to be a seeker type 2 action with sufficient information available upon which to state that no determination is necessary or required.
Second.
All right, so we're ready to vote with, we'd like to
On
put
the secret.
on the secret first, right?
I vote to approve.
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 Now let's go and vote on the, what's at hand. Adding in, should we add in the privacy fence on this vote? Is that how we do that, you guys?
Yep.
I think,
It's,
That's sort of a gentleman's agreement, isn't it?
yeah, I'm not sure if it would be appropriate to put it on an area variance. I think, you know what, you can put it on, and whether it's enforceable or not is a different question, okay?
okay. Okay, so.
I believe this man intends to do what he said he did.
I plan on it. I don't know if you've seen the neighborhood. We've been trying to clean up and we spent a lot of money in town trying to make things right.
Okay.
All right. Ready to take a vote?
You got to make a motion.
Make a motion first.
I move that the board approve the variance with the condition that he agrees to put a privacy fence up on
1716 property line.
the 716 property line. And this variance will not create an undesirable change in the character of the neighborhood. I think that's all.
That's all you
we're
need.
doing. Yep.
That's it. I'll second that motion.
I vote to approve.
Yes.
Approve.
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 Thank you.
Happy
Appreciate it.
building.
Have a good night.
Night.
Thank you.
We have one more item to bring up. I would like to propose, if everybody agrees and it's okay with the city and the administration and municipal law, that we change the commencement time from 6 PM to 5:30 PM. And that anybody who has to publish due notice, the office will do that. And if we have to wait until August,
Not opposed to it.
Okay.
I mean,
Is something that we can do legally? Is that allowed? I don't know.
I don't know of any, I don't know of any charter provision or code provision that requires meetings to begin at 6.
Oh,
We hold special meetings at the council all the time at 5:30.
Okay.
will this interfere with that at all?
Will this?
Will this interfere or conflict with any other meetings
council
time?
No.
doesn't meet.
None that I know of. I mean, the council, you meet on different
As
days
long as you
normally.
guys can be here.
So it's really you.
Yeah, you're already here.
Yeah.
I mean, just subject to a reservation that if I find something, I'll bring
Yeah,
it back to your
that's-
attention. But if that's what everyone wants, I mean, it's fine with me. It's actually better for
Do
me.
you want you to look and then we could, that's. the
There's
first
no
thing we
real
can-
place to, I mean, I've looked at the code quite a bit over
Oh,
the past
yeah.
10 years. I'm just saying if someone might, I don't know everything, but someone might point out something to
You
me.
don't know everything?
No, I don't. No. I-
That was
So
not
it's,
what I
so
was
it's
told.
a case by case if there's a conflict.
But
that's
is
all.
that
Yeah.
in agreement with everybody on the zoning board of appeals?
Yeah.
I could
Yes.
care less.
5:30.
5:30 unless you tell us otherwise.
So you'll just notice the next meeting for 5:30, and I don't know if there's something you have to change at the website
Do
or
we need to
not.
make a motion and vote on it?
Workshops.
Do we need to make a motion?
All right,
to
but
vote on it?
there'll be more than, there'll be 30, at least 30 days, almost 30 days notice of the change, right? Or when does the next,
That's right.
when
Go
does the
with it.
next meeting
That's a
notice
Go
go out?
with it in August.
Go start it in August. Stay at 6 o'clock for July.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we'll start in August.
You want to start in August?
Yeah.
Okay.
I second the
Do we
motion.
need a secret on that?
Do we need a second and a vote?
I vote to approve.
Oh, we have to adjourn.
We're improved.
I make a
Motion
motion that we
to-
adjourn
I
this meeting.
second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Need to do a roll call vote on that?
Oh, Steve, you are just stirring the pot, man. Jeepers.